Hello everybody, welcome back to yet another video, and Jesus, it has been a hell of a long time since I last done one of these, so we're going to jump straight into it today with Mech Warrior 5 and hope that I don't get too lost with doing this for the first time in, for the best part of a month. Alright, let's get on with it. After, well, obviously, a title card. So, Mech Warrior 5, what is it? Why should you care? And better point, why you shouldn't probably get this game. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a fun game, but it has many flaws which just sort of make me go like, yeah, it's not worth the money. Which makes me glad that I get it on Game Pass. Anyway, so what is Mech Warrior 5? Mech Warrior 5 is the fifth game, well, sort of fifth game, in the Mech Warrior franchise. Essentially, big robots that do stompy stompy, shooty shooty, crushy crushy, all the fun stuff. Basically, all your dreams of curb stomping people in little tanks in a several ton mech, all rolled into one tight as a chestnut package. The only problem with Mech Warrior 5 is it's a little buggy, and by a little buggy I mean quite buggy, and it's a bit clunky, and it has a fair few issues, but that's a bit out of the question at the moment. What are its positives? Well, it looks pretty. Yeah. Look, it's one of those games where it's a fun game, but it has its issues. Now, the fun bit obviously is you've got big stompy mechs like these, siege mechs that you can go and drive around in. And for the most part, it's quite familiar for anybody that's played Mech Warrior online. Okay. So it should be pretty good then. Well, the thing is, it feels like Mech Warrior Online, but without much done to it to make it its own thing. Like, sure, the graphics are prettier, sure, everything is bigger and better and yada yada yada, but it feels like Mech Warrior Online 1.2, if you know what I mean. It's like they've prettied it up, but they haven't really made its own thing. And sure, it's got a whole overarching campaign like all Mech Warrior games, but it doesn't have one that really just sticks with you. Because, like, you've got you are son of Big Commander Dude. Big Commander Dude gets killed, and obviously you must hate these mercenaries for the obvious reason that they are bad. Like, it's not a bad game, but it's just some of the writing is so poorly written, it feels very basic at times. So, okay, so it's lacking story. What else could it possibly have that might make up for it? Well, we'll get to that in a moment. Sorry, just having a bit of a sip of my drink. Okay, so what could make it up for it? Well, that's where the factor of what you actually are doing is coming involved. Stompy, stompy, shooty, shooty. Stomping around in huge mechs of all different sizes, and there are a fair few mechs, I will give them their credit. But it does have other issues. For example, the mechs, whilst they are very nice, they're fun to play, and all that, this, that, and the other, the game feels pretty basic. Like, compared to Mech Warrior Online, which I'm going to have to reference a lot because they are very, very similar in terms of actual playstyle when you're in-game. But compared to Mech Warrior Online, the actual mech customization, which really should be the high point for a single player experience where they can put in a lot of effort into making it very customizable, making it to you, is actually is incredibly dumbed down. You just don't have the options like you used to have. It's very much you are given here, you can attach guns, you can attach ammo, you can attach armor, that is it. That is all your customization. You can paint the armor, and again, that's it. So it is very dumbed down compared to the at times overbearing Mech Warrior Online system, but for people that probably want to, just play some Mech Warrior, stomp around in some mechs, have some fun, and enjoy their own little story in that lot, they probably want a more customized experience. They can fine-tune something specifically to them. But obviously you can't do that, because it's just not customizable enough, okay? So it's falling apart there too. Huh. But what it does have, and what which at the very least it should have, is it is mostly quite fun to play. Like, it does have its issues, and it does have its bugs, and it does have its weird things, but for the most part, it's quite fun to play, because, you know, when you're driving a 100-ton mech, armed with dual PPC cannons on both sides, with an automatic, well, an auto cannon for a secondary and a big-ass missile launcher for a tertiary, oh hell yeah, it's a fun game to play. You know, you've got squad-based mechanics, which work shockingly well, but also shockingly badly, depending on what it is you're trying to do exactly. But for the most part, the actual gameplay, when you're in the, honestly pretty short missions, but in the missions themselves, it really can be quite fun and engaging. You really do start to hunker down. You know, and it does give you an idea of the various things that you can do. Although that can be also pretty subjective, because it comes down to what you like. You want fast-paced action, yeah, you could go fast-paced, but then that comes to a small drawback, which we'll get to in a bit. But you do like huge stomping mechs, and I do mean huge. This is probably the best one for it. Like, it's got its issues, but honestly, stomping around is just the hugest of mechs. You know, siege mechs, and just arming them to the teeth. This is probably the best game for it. It's just, if you want to go faster, you want really fast mechs that you can zip around the battlefield in, you know, and you want to be really nice and on point and do some reflexes. The problem with Mech Warrior 5 is this game is, despite looking almost, well, pretty close to Mech Warrior Online, it is ridiculously badly optimized. Like, at 4K, which is the resolution I play at, this gets a fifth of the frame rate of Mech Warrior Online, if that. Like 30 to 50-ish FPS. It is tremendous just how much slower this game is in comparison to, you know, its major common, you know, everybody looks over to, I'm trying to think what, you know what I mean. The thing that is closest for it to compared to, it's just so poorly optimized, and you feel that poor optimization in game. It's just, it makes you wonder how they managed it, because it plays very much like Mech Warrior Online. You've got the inside, you've got the inside, outside. You've got these little cinematics for starting it. It's not as if there is too much happening on the screen at once, relatively speaking. You know, it's about as complex as Mech Warrior Online. In fact, you could debatably say it's less complex due to the fact that there isn't as many mechs on screen. But it is so much slower. I don't know what it is with the frame rate. It's just, it's a fraction of it. I don't know why. Anyway, but moving away from that, so it's fun to play, but what do you actually do in it? Well, general thing is, once you've done the sort of prologue, which is, you know, your old man getting slightly blown to pieces, well, you are running up your own mercenary company, and the simple job is, you're running a mercenary company. So, you know, go out there and do mercenary things, you know, like killing people, hunting down people, assassinating people, destroying bases, defending bases, pillaging, preventing people from pillaging. You get the whole idea. Essentially, there are a various amount of contracts which you can go ahead and take on and do as part of your mercenary company, and it is up to you how you conduct yourself during these, and of course, how you deal with them. You know? There are many ways to do it. It's just not all of them are ideal, and not all of them are terrible. It's a matter of what you prefer. Mine is usually the slow rolling thunder kind of idea. Many heavy mechs that just absolutely lay waste to everything they come across. Which is the reason why this one I'm currently driving is, well, equipped with dual PPC cannons on both sides. Now, it's not the most effective in terms of a long firefight, but it definitely has got just the it's got a very brutal punch to you if you are within its range. Because 4 PPCs hitting at once, you feel it. Regardless of how strong you are, you're going to feel it. But as you can see, it does overheat quickly, which is why this isn't too good in prolonged firefights. But in terms of just taking somebody out quickly, this thing, it delivers a heckin' punch. And then you've got another King Crab, which is a similar mech to what I'm driving, just equipped differently. And I think one's a Warhammer and one's a, what's it called, a Jaeger mech. Now the Warhammer's a more sort of intermediary heavy, like it's not a heavy, it's not super slow, it's not super fast, it's not too lightly armed, it's not too heavily armed, it's a nice sort of middle ground, but very much energy weapon based, so it's pretty nice for like a general all-round, but can overheat quickly if you're not careful. And then you've got the Jaeger mech, which is essentially it's a heavy weapons platform. More specifically, it's best suited to being a heavy weapons platform for auto cannons or just straight up, cannons. Which means, honestly, the best thing you can do with it is attach a load of sniper style weaponry. So smaller calibers, they generally tend to have better range, or better yet, fit it with burst fire like I always like to. And essentially just have it as, well, a ton of chain guns just sitting on a huge platform. It's brilliant, and it works. It is a godsend for anti-air, because of course you've just got several hundreds of rounds from an autocannon just being delivered on target round after round. But of course it's completely customizable. You can go ahead and change it to whatever you want. That's the way I have it. You can have it completely differently. You could set it to machine guns if you were feeling weird. Obviously, I wouldn't suggest that you do that, but you could do that. And that's the whole thing. It's very much you build your mechs to be what you want. And then, of course, you can train up their pilots, there's other things, and it has a lot of Mech Warrior-esque feeling and Battletech and all that lot, but it still does fall down at parts, because like I said, it's got too many bugs to really be an easy sell for anybody. Anyway, so we have found our target, who is currently in a hunchback. I cannot tell what kind of hunchback from here, but either way, we're going to go ahead and take him down. So open up with the auto cannons whilst I'm waiting for my heat to go down enough to go ahead and fire off both my PPCs. I was hoping that wouldn't cause me to overheat, but you know, it's four PPC cannons. It's always going to overheat. It's a lot. It's just an insane amount of energy being released at once. Alright, we got a little light mech there. Looks like a locust or something. It was a locust or something. Okay. Barely see that hunchback for all this rain. Keep firing with the missiles, just go ahead and keep them occupied. Come on. And not quite. Almost got him. But getting close. Just trying to see whatever that target. It's really hard to see through this heavy fog and rain, isn't it? And that is one thing that I will give them credit for. They do actually do the environments and the weather effect actually quite nicely in this game. So I know some games that can have weather effects that distract too much, and some games can have weather effects that look terrible. I think this one, it fits very much, because the weather effects are very varied. That, you know, completely varies depending on what region you're in, what kind of planet you're on. And they do it well enough. I would say they've done a good enough job on the weather here. But like the rest of the game, it's just... It's a game that has a lot of potential. But it's buggy, and the whole save file mess, which happened a while back. Essentially, after an update that enabled mods, the game developers basically screwed everybody who had save files, because it changed the save file system and deleted all of the old save files, which means the only way to get a similar save file was to go ahead and use a, well, save file editor, you know, with mods and stuff. So it was like, nice going, nice going. That's fun. It's real fun. You know, just when I was really getting into it and was ready to start singing its praise on the channel, it goes and does that. So, you know, okay. You know, so it's got issues there. The poor performance is just, it's unacceptably badly optimized. Like, if you were running a much weaker GPU or, you know, something mid-range, you probably struggle with this game a lot, because it is terribly hard to run. That being said, it's not an overly big game, you know. It's quite a reasonable size. I mean, it's still a pretty chunky game, but it's nowhere near as monstrous as it could be otherwise. But it makes you wonder, how do they make it so unoptimized? And how do they go ahead and just manage to dumb everything down when this is still, if I'm not mistaken, bigger than Mech Warrior Online? It's a game that's got a lot of potential, you know? But it just sort of falls short of the mark on every respect. And the whole intermission bit, which I'm skipping over massively, for good reasons, is miserably slow. Because like you may have saw towards the beginning when I was running around the spaceship and that lot, it is that slow regardless. Because that was sprinting apparently. And when you've got mechs the size of these in a little mech bay like the size of that, which you can see on screen right now, and you're just a little person, you know, a little diddly little dude or dudette walking around the floor, it takes a while to get across. Which really does work against this game. That's the whole... It's clunky, it takes forever to get into missions. You know, you spend most of the time trying to manage your mechs rather than, you know, being able to battle in them. It's pretty unbalanced. But when you get there, it's fun. But for the most part, it struggles to balance itself well enough to make it enjoyable. In between things, it is miserable. But when you're in a game, and when you have some nice stuff, you know, like a nice siege mech as well as a couple other things, it can be fun. But for the most part, God, it falls short of the mark every time. Anyway, let's stop complaining about that, and I might as well go ahead, whilst I've got a few minutes, talk about what's happened to me whilst I've been on my holiday. Well, let's see, so today will be the 22nd. I'm currently recording this a couple of days before the 22nd. I'm actually recording this on the 20th. Now here's the thing. Literally, the day that I went on my holiday, right? Would you believe it? My freaking tooth chipped. And I've been waiting my entire holiday, in pain, to get a dentist. Like, come on. How unfair is that? The second I go on holiday, I need to go and see a dentist. And I can't get a dentist until yesterday, or tomorrow for me, just to see a dentist. You're having to wait essentially the full 21 days to see a dentist right as I start my holiday. It has been so unfair. You know, I haven't been able to do everything that I wanted to do. Yeah, there's a couple of things that I would have liked to have done that I just didn't get around to doing. Yeah, I just didn't have the time for it in the end. But on the other hand, I did get around to doing a few things. Like I did mention that I wanted to try and get some overclocking done whilst I was, you know, enjoying my time off, and I did. And well, Dante's Inferno, you know, my main PC with a 3950X and 1080 Ti, that is now officially the 4th fastest in 3D Mark Firestrike with a 3950X and a singular 1080 Ti in all of the UK. And is also currently 52nd for the whole globe. I know, of course, like it's 52nd, but I think of like 1,000 or so, give or take. But I'm heckin' proud of it. Like, it's taken a while to go ahead and push it up, but now, regardless of what chart you're looking at, it's in the top few percent. Well, top 1%, regardless of what chart you're looking at, and in one chart, it's almost in the top 3. I think with a bit of finagling, it probably could get to the top 3. But that's one thing that I will attempt in the future. For now, I'm just happy with where it is. And yeah, so if you do go ahead and want to see the results, just look up 3D Mark Firestrike results table on the actual 3D Mark website. So you'll go to search and then change it so you've got 3950X and a single 1080 Ti, 3D Mark Firestrike, and you can see its results there nicely. It has got results for all tests as currently, but 3D Mark's where it's just ranking right at the top, and I'm real proud of it. Yeah, so that was actually really fun. It's nice to get back into overclocking because it's been so long since I've actually had a chance to. I really have missed it. Other things, I got new audio stuff. Yeah, I got really nice new audio because you may remember quite a few weeks ago during one of my sort of casual Sundays, just rambling stuff audio. Yeah, I mentioned that I got a few nice things to help start kicking off the nice audio that I want to get into because, you know, I'm starting to become a bit of an audiophile. Well, I've been watching one particular YouTuber a lot, Dankpods. Not sure if you know them. If you don't know them, go check them out. They're great. Seriously, Dankpods. I'll try and leave a link down in the video description. Anyway, awesome channel. Does lots of stuff with iPods and all that lot, but also a lot of just like general advice for audio stuff, and it sort of led me to like, be a bit interested and try it out, and I really have sort of gone off in the deep end. But anyway, cutting through the bush and just going straight to the whole meat of it. Now, I ended up getting myself a new pair of headphones, as well as a new DAC. Well, I'll hopefully be getting another DAC after this one. But as well as a new DAC, I've currently got a Theo BTR5. It's a gorgeous wired and wireless DAC, so you can go ahead and either plug it into your PC, turn it on, great sounding DAC, but here's the cool thing, it's got one-touch pairing and all that stuff, which means that the second that you go ahead and pull it out, as long as it was already paired to your phone, it will jump straight over to your phone's audio, or whatever you've got it paired up to, which means it will be straight from wired to wireless audio instantly. It is gorgeous, it is perfect. And not to mention, it is an incredibly capable DAC. Like, seriously, if you try it out, if you can just find one nice and cheap, it's worth getting simply because it is such an incredible, amazing DAC. And from what it should be able to run, from what I've heard, it should be brilliant. Okay, so I've got myself a nice new DAC, which I'll be using for listening to some nice headphones. But what are the nice headphones? Well, in my case, I got myself a couple of AKG K712 Pros. Now, I got these for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, though, they were in my price bracket. I wanted to try and get something that was under 250 quid, but I didn't want to get just anything. I wanted something that looked nice, from what I've heard, seems pretty nice. Now, it is fairly close to reference, and of course, these being reference headphones, they are pretty close to reference. And, something open back, because I wanted to try open back for the first time, and oh god, it was so worth it. Because with K712s, pull them out of the box, they are just so damn nice. And out of all the headphones, earphones, in-ear buds, whatever, that I've ever tried, they are honestly the most comfortable that I've ever had the privilege of being able to use, let alone own. So, okay, they feel amazing. Out of the box, it comes with two 3-meter cables. One of them is this nice orange straight cable, and the other one's a black coiled cable. So obviously, the coiled cable is the one that I use by my desk. Whereas the straight cable, I go ahead and use. I can listen to my records and that lot, because with it being a fairly low resistance, not impedance, I can't remember which one. Either way, I think it's 62 ohms or something like that. So it's fairly low, which is low enough that you can actually go ahead and run it off of, your phone, most inbuilt amps. It's pretty nice and easy to run. But the actual sound of it, they sound freaking gorgeous. Now, I know that some people can complain about other things, but for me in particular, they sound amazing. They're not too bright. They are a little bit bright. They're not too bassy, but they do have the bass where it counts. It's very much... It's nice, close enough to reference, and more than that, it's just a gorgeous sound. It's nice, it's warm, it is so freaking wide. Because obviously they're open backs, and also I might try at some point do a video on my audio gear one day. But honestly, getting yourself a nice pair of wide open back headphones, they are a godsend, and honestly so worth the money, regardless of what pair you get. Well, assuming of course you get a decent pair, you don't want to get actual garbage that's just open back, because it will still be actual garbage. But yeah, K712 Pros, they are gorgeous. Honestly, I highly rate them. But anyway, that's where I'm going to have to go ahead and cap the video. So, like the video if you like it, and dislike it if you dislike it. Any thoughts or questions, leave it in the form of a comment down below. Don't forget to check out my Discord, Patreon, Facebook, and Twitch page, all of which you can find down in the description down below. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more content from me. As always, this has been the 117th Con, signing off. Stay safe out there, folks. I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, ta-ra, and take care. And also stay safe, wear your mask and all that lot.